Our hearts and minds are open. So here we go. We started a little bit last week understanding that the Bible, according to the Kabbalists, is not just a physical record of people, places, and things, but it's also a spiritual guidebook. It's encoded with tremendous messages that the Kabbalah is bringing out in a way that we can make use of in 2016. But in this case, we hear, as we always mention on Sunday, we hear the first day of the week. And so I wanted to go back to the book of Genesis, to the first day of the week, that first day of creation, because that first day of creation reminds us what the truth of this world is and the true state of ourselves and the world around us. And it says simply, on the first day, let there be light. So light is the first thing. And water filled and covered the earth. So I want to relate for us this morning what water and light have to do with each other. Is that okay? Okay. Just making sure I still got you. Okay. Talk about something else. Should we talk about you? Okay. So what is water and light? If we think about it, the light of the Creator in the world before creation is metaphysical. It has no physical form. But at the same time, it's the power of everything in our physical world. It's the power of you and me. It's the power of everything in the physical world. Because if we think in a very basic way, when the light of the Creator came into this physical world, it came first, if you will, as protons, neutrons, and electrons, which therefore make up atoms, which make up everything in the physical world. So the endless light can become anything in the physical world. And in fact, not only can become, but does become, and is infused in everything in this physical world. The benches you're sitting on, the carpet that I'm standing on, the physicality of this room, and of course also our body. And therefore also water. What is water? Think about it. Why is it that when they go to explore outer space, one of the first things they're looking for is what? Water. Is there water on that planet? You and I sitting in a physical body in this room, on this earth, our bodies are made up of at least 80% water. We're also filled, our soul is filled with the light of the Creator, that endless light. Now, what's common about the two things? Because they say water, in the physical level, is the most unique substance on earth. It's the only substance we have on earth that will exist in nature, solid, liquid, and gas. And I can go on and on and on because of my science background, but that's not the point. Unless you like me to. Okay, good. Because I'm not sure I could remember from that far back. But if you think about it, when you turn on a light, like in this room, if we turn on a light bulb, how far does the light go? As far as the walls. If we could move the walls, what would happen to the light? Would it stay where it is? No, it would also expand into whatever else there is. If you have a gallon container, and even if you pour in a few drops of water, what does that water seek to do? It seeks to fill the container. It won't just stay in one spot. It will spread out. Because according to the Kabbalists, water is liquid light. It's liquid light. And that's why my teacher, the Rav Berg, used to say water, if you pour it in like one of these loops, you know, like a looped a tube, it will always seek its own level. It will always seek to raise to its highest. In fact, how did they measure in the ancient times? How did they decide, without those levels that we have today, how did they decide something was level or crooked? They used water. They used a little body of water, and because if you tilt the container, what happens to the level of the water? It'll stay. The container will move, but the level of the water will stay, the surface of the water. So we know, and we can see, therefore, the power of water is the power of the light that's inside of it. Besides the fact it's nourishing us, etc. So then light and water will seek to fill whatever vessel it is created or it's in. So then you and I are determining how much light our world, our life is filled with, by how much we open ourselves up to be able to contain the light. And that's what I wanted us to understand. That we are the deciding factor. But light itself, in Kabbalistic terms, is called the light of mercy. Water. Water is the light of mercy. That's why it does share, it does spread. Why do we feel good when we take a shower? Even if you're clean when you get in the shower, you still feel good. It's not just because you washed off the mud, because it's the energy of the light. It's the energy of mercy. Many of us, you feel good. You're in a swimming pool, you go in the ocean, you're in a lake, a body of water somewhere, you also feel good. Because it's cleansing, it's healing, and it's rejuvenating. The original, if you will, medicine was water. The original water of creation is pure light, and therefore it can cure everything. From all the diseases we know now to all the chaos in the world. The trouble is, as we're going to see, that sometimes we have not allowed that purity to come out and exist. We don't allow it to be revealed. Because water, like mercy, like the light, it seeks to make us our best. The light of the Creator is constantly pushing on us because our soul is filled with it. So it's constantly pushing on us to be better and better and better and better. Ideally like our parents and our friends. You never got pushed by your parents to do anything that you didn't want to do, right? Study, do a little bit more, help a little around the house, etc., etc. If you think now in those terms, what were they saying really? Bring out your best. Bring out your sharing nature. Bring out that which the Creator put inside you. Helpful, kind, compassionate, and loving. And so that's what the light will do. Now here's the glitch. Sometimes when the light is pushing on us to bring out our best, if a person is a little bit stubborn, then the push of the light can seem like, and I want to make that emphasis, can seem like judgment. Give you a quick example from the Bible. You remember the 10 plagues. We happen to be in that time now. From the full moon of Aries for a week is the time of the Exodus from Egypt. So that one of the plagues was where water turned to blood. We just said water is mercy, water is liquid light. So how could it turn to blood? So the Kabbalists explain that if you were a selfish or self-centered individual, when they dipped into the Nile River, they dipped in and they got blood. But if you were a spiritual and a sharing person, you could dip into the same body of water and you came out with water. So was it water or blood? It didn't depend on the substance itself, it depended on us. The flood of Noah, right, when the whole world was destroyed. So we tend to think that was punishment or terrible judgment from God. But I want us to make sure that today we don't understand God as anything but light, love, peace, harmony, all the good blessings. So when you go back and carefully read the Bible, it doesn't say God just woke up and said, let me destroy the world and all the people in it except for Noah. God called Noah like God calls each and every one of us. Be kind, be compassionate, be sharing. Noah said, yes, God, I will. And he made an effort to tell the generation that they needed to repair their behavior. Because if you'll go back and you'll read it, it says very simply, people were so hateful and filled with violence that that negativity covered the world. So Noah was the shining light, and he was out to tell people, no, change your way. Remember that you have the light of the Creator inside you. You have all the possibilities to be pure and perfect, to have an amazing life. Just let it out through those actions that are God-like. So when the flood came, water, for Noah, yes, it helped him rise above all the chaos. Like the light of the Creator, when we open ourselves, also will let us rise above all the chaos. But at the same time, the people who were stubborn and holding on to their negativity, holding on to their ego and their resentment and their hurt and their greed and all their negative behavior, what did the water do? Cleansed. Think of cleansing. How do you wash dishes? Or do you want to just leave them dirty and then try and eat on them again? So you wash them. How do you wash them? With water. You wash them with water. So the Kabbalists are giving us the lesson through the story of Noah and the plague of the blood, that as we become more and more spiritually not only minded, but spiritual actions, then the world also will be an ark, like the ark that protected Noah and his family, and we will be protected from the chaos, like light protects us from darkness. Light protects us from darkness. And as we will act more light-like, we'll be protected more and more from the chaos of the world. That's the power we have. But we're remembering, there is only the light of the Creator. It only seems to be judgment when we don't want to change. Go back to your childhood. If you didn't want to get up and share with your brother or your sister because it was your toy and you didn't want them to play with your toy, how did you feel when your parents kept pushing you to share the toy? Good or bad? You felt bad, but did you feel bad because they were really trying to make you feel bad? Or were you feeling bad because you didn't want to share the toy? Exactly. Exactly. So now we have to unleash ourselves from our inner negativity, those thoughts of anger or jealousy or resentment or what have you, and we need to be like water. Like we said, I remember the first time I was in Israel and I watched them wash the floors because there the floors are all marble. And we had chairs on the floor and they just take a bucket of water and they throw it like this. And I'm watching because I know water is liquid light. And I'm watching when the water runs up to the chair leg. The chair leg for you and I are those things in our life that make us feel blocked. I don't know what to do in my business. I don't know what to do in the family. I don't know what to do with the health. I don't know what to do with relationships. I don't know what to do. But what did the water do? Did the water run up to the leg and stop? No, it goes under, around, or through. Because like the light of the Creator will always find a way to continue. That's the power of water and the light. That's why the light is constantly pushing us to be our best. Because the light of the Creator that was given to us in our soul is already the best. The Creator wants us to have the best. And therefore, we feel that natural urge to be our best. Unfortunately, we've caught ourselves up in the illusion of this world not to be our best, to believe we have limitations. We have no limitations when it comes to being light-like, God-like. There are no limitations. It's only us. But another thing, it just happened to me very recently, so it's a fresh example. Some of you, I think I might have shared before, and I realized it's the same thing. It can be mercy, or it can look like judgment. I like to be on time. Growing up, it was compulsive and obsessive. Had to be on time, had to be on time. And I realized just this morning, actually, I can choose. Either it's a good thing to be on time, you get to places on time, you're there, you can enjoy, meet, whatever it may be, or if it doesn't look like the time is working my way, then what happens? Then I get frustrated, I can get short-tempered, I can become impatient, etc. What's the difference? Is it about the time or is it about my perception? So fortunately, I have a wife that she's not always focused on the time. But that was then my lesson. She was there to teach me, and that was it. In the beginning of our marriage, if things weren't going on time as I perceived it, I get a little upset, I get a little frustrated, I get a little impatient, etc. Until she had to point out to me at least 4 or 5 times that even though I thought we were going to be late, we always ended up on time. So that's when I had to realize it was me. I was choosing. Will the light of the Creator that's in me, that wants me to be the best, to be on time in the right way, am I going to use it for mercy, or will I let it make me frustrated? Because it's up to me. It wasn't up to the time, and it wasn't up to the event. It was up to me, as it's up to each one of us. We're deciding what the light is going to do. We're deciding which way the light is going to go. We're deciding what's going to be in our life. We decide, not things around us. So now, I want to give you another perspective on mercy. It's funny because it does relate. According to the Kabbalists, what's mercy? Is time. Time. How many of you have ever made a mistake in your life you would like to fix? How many of you never made a mistake in your life? Exactly. So we've all made mistakes. We all would like to fix them, right? So the Kabbalists teach that if there were no time, if there were no mercy, then we'd have no time to repair our mistakes. And therefore things would hit us, as we say, instant karma. But this world is made up of mercy. That's why we've said the first day was light and water. The power of mercy, the opportunity, the time to fix our mistakes. So the Kabbalists teach us that even though you and I may not on a conscious level always understand fixing our mistakes or always have the consciousness to fix our mistakes, but when we're asleep, and this is one reason why we do sleep, because no scientist can tell us why we sleep. I dare you to Google it. No scientist on earth can tell us why we need to sleep. And yet we spend almost a third of our life sleeping. So one reason is to allow the soul to have a little bit of freedom. And the soul, our soul, which is our true consciousness, asks the Creator for another opportunity to make up for our mistakes. Because if we hold the law of cause and effect in our mind, then every mistake has to also have an effect. And that usually looks very challenging. So the Creator, in its mercy, gave us, and our soul asked for a second chance. But that second chance, like in my case with the time, the second chance isn't that my wife and my family will now look like they're always on time. As much as I wish it. But the second chance is for me to have the same thought. Uh-oh, it looks like we're being late, like we're going to be late, and now for me to correct my mistakes, to have patience, not to get upset, right? To have tolerance, etc. That's my opportunity. And so every night we go to sleep, our soul is asking for another opportunity. Why? Because it's another opportunity to reveal our light, our soul's light, and have all the blessings. How many of us want more blessings in our life? So it's already sitting in our soul. All we have to do is express it. What's holding us back? Those things that block us. Those things that hold us back. And yet miracles are waiting for us. Beyond our understanding. How many of you ever went swimming? Or seen somebody swim? How many of you, when you swim or watch somebody and they do like this, right? How many of you have seen the water split? Really? It doesn't go back, it splits and they fall. Right? This doesn't split the water, it just moves it around. Right? I'm talking split like the biblical story of the splitting of the Red Sea. Ah, ha, ha. See, we tend not to believe that story. But the Kabbalists give us an explanation that's beyond anything we can imagine. That not only did the water split, but the water split in 12 pathways. How many tribes of Israel? Sons of Jacob? 12. Those 12 tribes marched through the Red Sea, each one in their own pathway. So the water not only split, but it piled itself up like ice, like walls of ice that were clear, like glass, that as the 12 tribes, millions of people walked through the Red Sea, they could look side to side and see everybody else and feel safe. Now you and I thinking, it's a biblical story, Chaim, of course we can't believe it. But yet, what it says is, in the creation of water, in that first day, there were conditions put in the creation of water. That it says literally, when we will use, and Moses knew how to do it completely, and we do it every week in our level, but when you will use these 72 names of God to your left, in its highest level with pure consciousness, which is what Moses was able to do, you can call on the condition of creation of the water, that the water would split. Still don't believe it, huh? How many of you have ever traveled in an airplane? How many of you ever held a rock up like this and then let it go? What happens to the rock? Falls. Why does it fall? Because it's heavier than air. So how heavy is an airplane? Heavier than air, yes or no? So what allows the airplane to fly? Wait a second. If a rock falls because it's heavier than air, what allows an airplane that's heavier than air to fly? Because in the creation of the universe, there was a condition that we have uncovered scientifically called aerodynamics. And because of the aerodynamic law that we didn't create but we discovered, we're able to take an airplane and fly heavier than air and come back and travel great distances. So Moses was just understanding the condition of water. He made use of it, like the laws of aerodynamics. He used the laws of the 72 names. He split the water. But at the same time, the Kabbalists say, it was again light but it was also appearing like judgment. Because the Israelites could cross the Red Sea. What happened when the Egyptians came in? The sea closed on them and they all drowned in the ocean. But remember, now we're looking at it a little differently. Drowning in the ocean is our spiritual understanding, like the flood of Noah. The people who held negativity. The Israelite represents our sharing nature. The Egyptians represent our selfish nature. So the sharing nature was able to go right through the challenge, was able to go right through the Red Sea, split, drawing on the miracle of creation, the conditions of creation, to be able to transcend what we thought was the usual, what we thought was nature. They were supernatural, like we would all like to have. Supernature over all the chaos, the negativity of our lives and the world around us. The Egyptians then, facing the selfishness or being selfish, they had to be cleansed. Water is cleansing and light is pushing us to be our best. So those people, or that part of us that we consider selfish or self-centered, was also cleansed. So it was both judgment and mercy in the same time. And that's why the Kabbalists said it was one of the most difficult things in the metaphorical writing for the Creator to do judgment and mercy at the same time. The appearance of light and darkness in the same time. One of the most difficult, but it was one of the most miraculous. You and I are sitting here in the 21st century. How many things that exist today, 100 years ago, didn't exist and would have been considered tremendously miraculous? Think about it. Cell phones, computers, the internet, all those kinds of things. Could never have understood it. Interstellar travel. Miraculous. But remember, water and light are our original state. Pure and perfect is our original state. It's up to us to become more and more of our godlike nature, more sharing, so that we split whatever Red Sea we're facing now. It's up to us. It's not up to anyone else. So if you're feeling the aspects of judgment or a little bit of chaos, stress and pressure, it's not about the stress and pressure. Remember, the light is pushing us to be more of our godlike self, to open ourselves up and act like the light, so that we can cross the Red Sea, and the Red Sea will split and we will see. You know how they make olive oil? They take an orange. Well, this is Florida. Okay. Okay. They take an olive, and to get the oil out of it, squeeze. Squeeze. So if you think about it, what did the Creator put inside of us? The infinite light of the Creator. All of that perfection, all of that holiness. As we are learning Kabbalah, we are learning to make the effort to do more to squeeze ourselves, to let out from us love, compassion, kindness, and all the other godlike behaviors, so that the oil of the light of the Creator can come out of us, that our 100% can come out of us. But I have a student, just to share with you, and for me it's a very tremendous lesson. The student has been involved in some business dealings for years and years and years. He's coming to the end of the process, and he's telling me, he says, the pressure, Chaim, feels unbearable. I said, yeah, but how long has this been going on? He says, for years and years. I said, I want you to change that word, because I know you about 6 months already, and I know you've been able to bear all this pressure. And not only bear it, but become a better person, to heal past relationships, to heal the negativity that you've done in your past that you're so free to admit. But I explained to him, as I'm explaining to you, it's like the universe is squeezing the holiness of the light out of you to let you be a person that you never imagined you could be. Because that's what it means, unbearable. It's if it was unbearable, you would have been finished already. But the fact you were able to bear it and continue to bear it, I said, change it. Say it's difficult to bear is one thing, but don't say it's unbearable. Because unbearable means you're not capable, and yet you've shown me in 6 months you've been able to bear tremendous pressure and become better for it. Not more negative, not more frustrated, not more angry, not more resentful, but the opposite. And he tells me, if I look back on myself, he says, you're right. I don't recognize myself even just in the last 6 months. And I could never imagine that this person that I feel is the man I wanted always to be would have been able to be that person. So then you and I have to make the decision. Are we going to channel this light? Are we going to let it work for us to bring out the miraculous nature of the Creator inside of us, or are we not? It's up to us. In the Bible, it tells us 50 times in the 5 books of Moses to remind us that we were slaves in Egypt and we were freed from that slavery. And the Kabbalists say, why do we need 50 times? Nothing else is mentioned 50 times like that. Because as you and I have been learning last week and this week, the exodus from Egypt doesn't mean what happened 3,400 years ago. It means what's happening today in our lives, that you and I are becoming freer from being addicted to, obsessed with the 5 sense physical materiality of this world, of being caught up in the idolatry of, if I only had this, and I only had this, and I only had this, and I only had this, then I'd be happy. No, we have to be free first from that illusion. And that's why we're constantly reminded 50 times that we are already free. Don't go back to Egypt. Don't go back to being addicted to the 5 sense materiality of things. It's all in our hands. God gave us the power to create this world and our lives. So you know how it says half full and half empty. You know that? The glass, is it half full or is it half empty? Which is it? Half full or half empty? We all want to say half full because we're optimists. But the truth is, if you look at the whole glass, is it half full or half empty? It's both. It's both. So my teacher, Rav Berg, used to teach us like this. The scientists are still caught up probably thousands of years ago, even though it's the 21st century. The only understanding they have of darkness is what? Darkness is the absence of light. The Rav always said, no, darkness is not the absence of light, because the light is infinite. So there's no place the light couldn't be. So what is darkness? Darkness is unrevealed light. Unrevealed light. So what do we have in our half empty? It's not half empty. It's the appearance of an emptiness, but it's really our light that's not revealed yet. And who is it up to reveal it? Us. And that's the lesson of today. Mercy. If we want mercy, if we're begging the Creator, the universe, for a second chance, then we need to, in order to have our second chance, we need to offer other people the second chance. We need to have mercy on other people. Yes, they may have done us wrong, but it's our job to pierce through their negative behavior and see the light that's inside them. Because the infinite light fills us and them. So the same way we ask for people to have mercy on us by knowing that we're good people and we just need another opportunity to show them, then we need to do the same thing. And I just want to emphasize, that doesn't mean you have to be around them all the time. But you have to see them even from a distance and offer them mercy to know that at some point, the awakening of their soul is going to make them also behave like you and I are behaving. Love, compassion, and kindness. So we want mercy, we've got to offer mercy. The half full and half empty, it is both. It's just waiting for us to reveal the half empty part, to reveal what looks like the emptiness, but there's light inside. So how do we do that? Because we see the half empty and the half full with our eyes. This part looks full, this one looks empty. So the Rav teaches us, no, you see past your eyes. And how would he do that? Open your heart and open your soul. When you open your heart and your soul, when we will open ourselves to have mercy on ourselves, mean to see the light in us, then it's easier to see the light in everyone else. The more we hold ourselves in judgment of our negativity, then of course the easier it is to see judgment and negativity about everyone else. But our job is to know that the infinite light is in us and all around us and in them. So the more we will seek to draw out to help them reveal the light in them, the more we're revealing the light in us. It's a win-win situation. That's the light and the water of that first day of creation. Because only after it was filled with light and filled with water, then it says, and then there was the parting of the water to reveal the land. Then there was the appearance of darkness. Because when we catch ourselves in that 5 sense world, then we can have that illusion. But the truth is, you and I are pure and perfect beings. We are filled with the light of the Creator. It's our job to let it out. And we do that with merciful acts on us and on other people. So remember today, it's not in control of anyone else. Our world is in our own eyes, it's in our own heart, and it's in our own soul. So today, as we'll open up ourselves, our hearts and our mind and our soul, and our eyes to see past the physical illusion, to see the goodness in every person, then we can draw out and reveal what the Creator's already put here. Peace and harmony, all the blessings we could ever imagine. We can be miracle makers as we will let the light of mercy shine out of us. We can take away all the illusion. We can take away all the darkness. We can stop every person on earth from doing anything but love, compassion, and kindness. And it's in our generation, with your help and all of the people here in the center and all the centers of the world that are transforming themselves, that are leading the example for the rest of the world to do the same thing. And that's when we will achieve love your neighbor as yourself, because we're seeing them as us. We're drawing it out of them. We're removing all the last curtains and all the last veils, and heaven on earth will be a reality. Remember the splitting of the Red Sea. Miracles are possible because we are co-creators. As we decide now we want heaven on earth, we can take away the veils, we can reveal heaven on earth and peace to all people. God bless.